Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos enjoyed a snow blizzard getaway in the city they live as they revealed that they spent the night in a New York City hotel due to the weather. During the February 23rd episode of Live, the show aired without a studio audience after a severe weather warning swept across the East Coast the night before. Essential travel was banned in New York City until Monday. During the show, the couple shared that they stayed the night in a hotel to be closer to the studio. "Mark and I spent the night in a hotel last night," said Kelly. "The hotel across the street from the studio, which I thought would be an easy commute, but as it turns out, it was a very difficult commute because drudging through the snow was hard and the wind was very blustery." Live's executive producer, Michael Gelman, missed the show after getting stuck in Florida. Kelly shared that they were thrilled that we rushed home from Palm Springs and the 80-degree sunshine. "This happens, as you said, every 10 years, Mark shared, with Ripa adding, "We've been together for every major blizzard that has struck this city." Mark then shared that he hopes they're together for a few more. However, it seems his wife does not share a similar sentiment. "May we never endure another blizzard," replied Kelly. "A snow day couldn't stop us," read the caption on the ABC show's Instagram alongside photographs of the crew sitting in the first few rows of the studio seats. When they're not hotel hopping, Kelly and Mark reside in a $27 million townhouse on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. The couple purchased the luxury abode 12 years ago and transformed it into a modern living space with notes of French and old Hollywood glamour inspired by the film Mommy Dearest. Kelly has previously called her home her favorite place on earth. "We've moved several times in our lives, but no matter where we go, for me, this is my forever home," she told Architectural Digest. "When I walked in here, I was like, this is the final place where I will live. I love this house so much." She continued, "I don't want to sound morbid, but they'll have to carry me out of here feet first because I've gotten good and comfortable in this house." Back in April, the show moved to a brand new studio at 7 Hudson Square, following over 4 decades at their Upper West Side home at 7 Lincoln Square. Kelly described the Walt Disney headquarters as 1.2 million square feet. "Welcome to our glistening new studio," Kelly said at the time, with a camera panning to showcase not just the large, sleek space, but also the view behind them, markedly different from the previous set. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos temporarily left their $27 million home during a major New York City blizzard, not because they wanted to, but because the city outside their windows chose its own dramatic, white-knuckled agenda. For a couple whose lives are threaded through morning television lights and the quiet rituals of a carefully curated townhouse, the storm was a small, theatrical interruption, a night in a hotel across from the studio, wind howling like an audience of weather gods, and a reminder that even the most gilded routines can be undone by nature's blunt, cold hand. They had planned for a simple commute. The thought of staying the night across the street from the studio felt sensible, practical, the kind of small logistic they handle in the soft, efficient way of two professionals who have learned to schedule around the unexpected. But when the city pronounced a severe weather warning and essential travel bans blanketed major arteries, the easy became absurdly, gloriously complicated. They trudged. They laughed. They leaned on one another. What might have read like a minor celebrity inconvenience on a headline turned into something warmer, an ordinary, communal human experience under extraordinary conditions. On that morning's episode of Live, the set bare of its usual studio audience as a safety precaution, the two were matter-of-fact about their night away. The show itself felt different, quieter, more intimate, like a living room conversation that had accidentally become national. The executive producer, Michael Gelman, was conspicuously absent, stranded out of state, small professional dramas of our age, made larger by the reach of broadcast. The couple traded banter about the commute, about the blustery gusts that turned sidewalks into whitewater, and about their shared history with the city's temperamental winters. They spoke in the way people do when they are both performers and partners, a blend of practice, timing, and unguarded affection. "We rushed home from Palm Springs. One of them said, half amused, half incredulous, about the contrast between sunlit desert and the snowstorm they'd woken up to. The sportsmanship in the exchange was familiar. They had been together through many city moments, major blizzards included, and they joked about their survival record as if it were a shared championship. Which, of course, it is of a sort. Their townhouse on the Upper East Side, a place they transformed over a dozen years into something both modern and infused with the glamour of old films, reads like a chronicle of choices. It's the sort of home that whispers a history of artful decisions, French silhouettes, silk draperies, moments of old Hollywood drama borrowed from the cinema they love. Inside, it is a nest of memories, layers of family life and design statements. Outside, it is a stoic chunk of real estate worth more than some towns. She has called it her favorite place on earth, and when she speaks of it, there is a particular hush, part reverence, part possessive joy. "This is my forever home," she has said in other contexts, and the words landed that day like the kind of assertion people make when they have finally uncloaked the thing they love most. There is an irony to the couple's hotel night, a $27 million townhouse that has been described as a sanctuary, and yet on this particular night, the sanctuary itself felt temporarily less trustworthy than a nondescript hotel across from the studio. The city around them, after all, had decided to perform. The wind picked up, snow wrapped around light poles, and the streets grew anonymous beneath their coats of white. The press and the cameras, which normally orbit the couple's choices, instead focused on the image of them, bundled, practical, occasionally exasperated, wrestling with a weather system that pays no mind to celebrity. The show's Instagram framed the day with a caption the producers intended to be buoyant. "A snow day couldn't stop us." Photographs showed a stripped set, crew members clustered in the front rows, and hosts who looked slightly out of their usual element, which only made them more human to their millions of watchers. Television, for all its gloss, occasionally offers these honest moments, when production meets reality and both agree to speak plainly. The couple's presence at the center of that was less about glamour and more about being available in the messy, logistical way that makes morning television feel like a friend you can call at 8. Back at the townhouse, where their life is usually a curated sequence of interior vignettes and family rituals, the snow likely piled against window panes with the same earnestness reserved for weather that's both dramatic and banal. Inside, there is a kind of performative domesticity that has been slowly, lovingly layered into the house. Furniture moved and adjusted, objects chosen and placed so their life could look as much like a storybook as like a lived home. Inspirations for the interiors range from cinematic references to personal whims. The brief nod to a particular film in their design notes, "Mommy Dearest," hints at a playful flirtation with vintage drama, a wink to the era when filmed moments felt expansive and decisive. That playful theatricality is part of their charm. They take design seriously, but not reverently. The home is a vessel for family and laughter, a place where small niceties and big celebrations have both taken root. It is also undeniably a public artifact. Interviews, photos, magazine spreads, including the pages of prominent design publications, have celebrated their taste. One such magazine, which has chronicled the interior's evolution, framed it as the end point of a search, a final place in a long series of moves. She has said that when she first stepped through the house, she knew it would be the place she would grow into. These declarations live on in the public record, and in the quieter life, they are the kind of domestic prophecies that quietly come true. That domestic certainty, the idea of a forever home, makes the decision to spend a night in a hotel feel almost subversive. It is a small rupture of the pattern. It is also, in its own way, a reaffirmation. Their home is treasured because they choose to leave it to be together where work calls. Choosing the hotel was a practical concession to the unpredictability of the city they inhabit. It showed a willingness to be flexible when the normal rhythms of life are interrupted, and it highlighted the behind-the-scenes negotiation that comes with lives lived in the public eye. The couple's relationship has always been, in public terms, a model of longevity that many admire. The little details, how they finish each other's thoughts on air, the private jokes that slip into banter, the way they look at one another across a studio filled with lights, read like the shorthand of people who have built an intimacy over decades. Their marriage is threaded through projects, through careers that have required both to adapt and to stay visible. A snowstorm that forces them into a compromise of lodging is a sliver of ordinary life that their audience can relate to. Life is not paused by fame.